Excuse me, I'm next in line. Move. Excuse me, I'm next in line. Watch out. Excuse me, I'm next in line. I said move. Excuse me, I'm next in line.
Run through the standings like usual. We got the NFL. We got the Bills 8-3, second division. Jets 4-7, third in that same division, and the Giants 2-9, third in their respective division. Pretty much, there's not really going to be a New York team in the playoffs. Moving on. NBA, we have the Nets. They're seventh in their conference, the Eastern Conference, and I think their record is 7-8. So nothing too impressive, but they'd be in the playoffs. And the Knicks are dead last with a record of 4-12, leaving a lot of teams wondering how they won those 4 games. I know it's so bad to say that as a Knicks fan, but I mean, literally, though, have you seen them play? Like, yeah, I'm left wondering how they won those 4 games. The NHL, nothing else has changed. Islanders are still second with a 16-3 record. The Rangers are still 6th with a 10-4, and the Devils are last with an 8-10. All right, so not too much happening there. Where the teams are currently ranked is pretty much the same, and they're not getting any better, so it seems. But a couple other things in sports news to talk about. So first, remember I was talking about how Kaepernick did his whole training thing the other week? So at the event were 7 teams, and it doesn't look like anyone's really too interested, because after that, they sent them to the remaining 25 teams that were not there for the event, and nobody is hitting him up. Nobody's asking him to come to one of their workouts. No one's asking him to come to a team tryout. Nobody's, picking him up in any way, shape, or form. So it was either one of those, maybe Jay-Z got in their ears. Maybe the whole stunt was meant to just placate the fans and say we give him a shot, but he's not up to par. I would like to see the video footage of that day and compare it to what else we've been seeing from other training camps and other people who are potentials in the NFL. Just to make it fair. Like, if you're going to placate the audience, do it all the way. So give us the footage and let us see how he plays.
Yeah, baby.
Right?
Yeah.
And also, in some wrestling news, we have a big weekend. So last night they just had a NXT TakeOver War Games, also known as Chicago. And essentially, we had 4 really hyped up events from the NXT Wednesday shows. I'm going to give you my review of the event, and hopefully it leaves you excited for tonight's Survivor Series. I have not been a big fan of Survivor Series for years because obviously I feel like Raw is just pretty much the staple dominant brand that it hurts them to lose to SmackDown, because they're the 3-hour show, right? And most years, Survivor Series, Raw wins most of the major matches because they need it. They need it. They need to make sure you're watching them Monday night when they're competing against other popular shows, that sort of deal. This is the first year in a long time that it felt like somebody could win who's not Raw. SmackDown is on a Friday night plunge rating-wise, so it could actually use some hype. NXT is the Wednesday night war, so you need it to look good. They've been having NXT pretty much looking like it's beating the crap out of both of them, over the last month or so, since they announced that they would be joining Survivor Series. And it's probably because they have a deeper roster since it's all the undercard wrestlers, essentially. But I'm actually excited for it. And last night's TakeOver kind of put me in the mood for Survivor Series. So first, we start with an all-women's War Games, right? Which meant that there was a large steel cage, 2 rings, and the match doesn't start until after people have been beating the crap out of each other for 20 minutes, right? There was a big turn for one of the characters as Dakota Kai ends up turning bad. Although I kind of felt that it was expected since they kind of, shortchanged her into the match in the first place. And who wants to be anybody's second pick, right? So she came, she looked like she was going to help out, turns dark, and in the end screws over her team, but it didn't work because her team ends up winning. and Rhea Ripley, or Team Rhea Ripley, I should say, ends up winning the War Game. Now, this match is a 4 out of 5. I think the only thing that doesn't make it perfect is the fact that I kind of felt that it was predictable. And also, the way that it happened wasn't exactly the way that I wanted. Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox never got into the ring. I kind of wanted for Dakota Kai to enter the match and turn on her team in the ring. I feel shortchanged that I didn't get to see her or Tegan Nox actually like show their skills in this hardcore wrestling match. But it was still thoroughly entertaining, so 4 out of 5. Next was a 3-way battle for the #1 contender spot to face Adam Cole tonight at Survivor Series. And it was between Killian Dane, who I love, what's this new guy, Damian Priest, or whatever it is? Yeah. I mean, he's technically the New Yorker, so I should like him. But although they keep saying he's giving an homage to like Razor Ramon, he just feels like a Razor Ramon ripoff mixed with David Blaine magic. And it's not working for me at all. Now, in ring, his skills are pretty legit, but again, he still feels like a ripoff in every way down to the hair. Like, it's really bad. And then, of course, the third person in the match is the Bruiserweight. Now, this was an out-of-nowhere rivalry that kind of just threw Killian Dane in there, which I think helped make the match a little bit more exciting. But, in all honesty, I'm really unhappy with the result. The match itself, too, was kind of predictable at the moment that the match They pushed this guy so hard, and I don't want it to take away from his in-ring capability, but it's one of those I was really hoping to see someone else fight for the title. And because of that, this match is a 3 out of 5, because in the end, I was just kind of waiting for it, so how's the Bruiserweight going to win it? How's the Bruiserweight going to win it? How's the Bruiserweight going to win it? And that's how I felt. That's how I felt the entire match. And then, of course, he wins it. That's what I would define lackluster to be, right? You wanted to give me a shock in that first match. Give me a shock in the second one. Give me Damian Priest winning this out of nowhere. You're like, really? Give me Killian Dane, who deserves an opportunity at the title, let alone should have had it before he went up to the main roster and then came back. You know what I'm saying? Don't make it the most predictable guy. Like, we're running on an NXT UK push. You know, we even put Kaylee Ray into the women's match, and somehow with 2 champions, they lose to Rhea Ripley. Although Rhea Ripley is, I love her, but, like, no. That's not how that should have went at all. Next was a really random one-on-one. It was supposed to be Johnny Gargano in this match, but he got injured. So it was a Finn Balor and Matt Riddle. So you probably get this. It was the women's match that Dakota Kai got a Mia Yim suffered a concussion a few nights ago, and I don't think she was medically cleared, so they found a way to give it a good excuse on the night of the event. So just putting that out there too. She even posted that she was given, like, you know, it was declared that she had a concussion. So, you know, just remember that. But yeah, so this Matt Riddle Finn Balor match, it kind of seemed a little bit random. They just kind of made Finn Balor just go after Matt Riddle to pick up this Johnny Gargano loss. And although the build-up wasn't that great, the match itself was excellent. I give this a 4 out of 5 just because I didn't care enough, especially with the other matches having such good, like, and well-developed storylines over the past month and a half. This one just kind of seemed random over the last 2 weeks. But despite that, the in-ring, and then the best part for me was that they actually gave Finn Balor the win, right? His only takeover loss was to lose the title to Samoa Joe just before he got moved to the main roster. It's kind of a passing of the baton when they do stuff like that, so it's a given. This is his return. He's keeping his almost perfect NXT TakeOver record. He's also making a statement that they're really going to try and push him in NXT, and they've been really pushing Matt Riddle, so for him to beat him really says a lot, where Matt Riddle was literally the last man standing out of everyone from NXT Raw and SmackDown the other night. After a match, I was glad that they didn't go with the whole like pushover on him, and they actually allowed Finn Balor to win. So that was a really good decision by NXT. It keeps you on your toes for the most part. Other than that last match, this one was really good. And the last one, the Male War Games event, which Undisputed Era was in again, and I think they're going to probably be in most of the War Games because they're the evil faction of NXT, and they, you know, they fought against a team that was pretty much gonna beat them, right? I mean, these guys were outsized from the beginning, regardless of a fourth member. I really thought NXT was gonna win because like 4 champions, people love them, so they beat them, and I mean, Undisputed Era just does that. They have a way of just pulling out victories out of nowhere when you expect them to lose. And they lost. They lost to Tommaso Ciampa. They lost to Kevin Owens coming out of nowhere to NXT. That was great. When his music played and you were wondering who the fourth person into the match was going to be, it was excellent. And he just comes in, beats the crap out of everybody solo. A lot of back and forth. Each member gets taken out one by one into the finale. I mean, Tommaso Ciampa dropping Adam Cole from the top of the cage was excellent. I mean, this was just great. From beginning to end, this match was awesome. Keith Lee did his thing. Dijakovic did his thing. It was just an excellent match from start to finish. Everybody could perform. It made sense. There was nothing too unrealistic in this match. And literally the finale was perfect. Like, the one thing about the finale I will say is that you saw the moment when Tommaso Ciampa had Adam Cole set up for the move and was just like, are you ready to brace yourself? Like, you saw it. They paused. They even showed him saying it to him, and then they jump off, and he just drops him. And then, so and the thing about it was landed so cartoon. He really put it in terms of his injury, which was like such a relief because you would not want Adam Cole to get permanently injured before he has to defend the title the next night. And yet it was still believable. He landed on him in a perfect pinfall. Like, it was great. Everything about it was everything that went. It was everything right that went wrong when Shane McMahon tried to do the same thing. Pretty much. It was excellent match. It gives me 5 out of 5 and the only perfect up to that.
Big man.
And yeah.
Oh.
Keith Lee and Dijakovic, like, they are abnormally athletic for men of their size that it is scary. Mm-hmm. Very scary. And for those of you who don't know, Keith Lee and Mia Yim are a thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's a real opposite couple.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's Blasian, so, you know, she stuck to the black side.
Hey.
But last but not least, before we go to our first commercial break, it has been 15 years since one of the biggest NBA brawls of all time between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons. And it just feels like something worth noting because this was one of the biggest moments in NBA history and definitely made a name for Jermaine O'Neal and Ron Artest for all the wrong reasons. Especially against like Wallace and those boys who are known to beat the crap out of people for generations. So, you know, just a reminder, if you've never heard of this war because you're too young, or if you're someone who completely forgot about it, just YouTube it. It's everywhere. Like, Pistons, Pacers, Brawl. And I believe it's 2004. So, yeah, it's 15 years old this week, so that's just another sports news worth mentioning before we go. And we're going to head to our first commercial break, and when we come back, what else is happening around the world and media and all the nonsense that we usually get to. So I'll just be quick.
State your biz, pick a side. My eyes pick your vibes and what you feel inside. To go against me, I wouldn't advise. I tell you once, there won't be a second time. So keep me in your sight if I'm ever out of mind. I'm a better friend than enemy, so take heed to my pedigree. I paid the cost of integrity, well invested. Now it's wrong and I'm on with the weaponry. You got drive, I see that, but a one on me, you wouldn't achieve that. Look, it's how I made a renegade, never catch a fade. Got it made like special ed or an ace of spades. Let the drama slide, the truth like Veritas. My word is my bond, y'all see what I'm on. Philly style, draw like Picasso. A warner for enemies I got close. Friend or foe, which one do you know? Say your biz and the actors go to show. What happens? Tell me who will know. Cause we'll see it all when it's all time to go.
Friend or foe, yo, state your biz. There it is. Friend or foe, yo, state your biz.
Yo, I'm done talking. No words, all actions. Like all verbs, no slacking. Look on your face like, wow, what happened? Fecal hit the fan, I can see you, wait, my man. The evils of your plan, you can see to get me can. Your reason it was bland was the feeling of your hand. I felt it like seagull, peep the eagle when it lands. I can see you, wait, my fam. You thought I wouldn't understand. You knew you were wrong. I won't sing the same song. No fun, you promise. It's a shame, cause I'm brutally honest. My mind is a flower of bloom. My honor goes to the tomb. You're a fool to assume anything different. I'm on point like Tip. Your can, you'll kick it. Listen. Message sent, you best receive it from yours truly, the one with no leaks, kid. Friend or foe, which one do you know? Say your biz and the actors go to show. What happens? Tell me who will know. Cause we'll see it all when it's all time to go.
Hold it, no leaks, friend or foe, yo, state your biz. I'm done talking. State your biz. State your biz. State your biz. State your biz.
So some Trump news to get to. First is that he's been... Oh, no, come on! I didn't even get to the jokes yet. But no, Trump was being pretty much talked about all week because of the impeachment trial, right? And one thing that they kept saying was, like, everybody asked about it was quid pro quo, right? Like, that was all they were saying, quid pro quo, quid pro quo, quid pro quo. And that Trump was, you know, essentially doing something to get something. Right? Like, I'll give you this, give me that. I'll give you this, quid pro quo. So he literally makes a statement on his way to somewhere else with his little sign, like, that he has to read, and he wants to show you whatever. Like, I am not quid pro quo. Didn't do quid pro quo. And it was the most retarded speech a president has ever made. And what made it worse was that he's, like, outside. You can hear, like, the chopper in the background, all that. He's making an ass of himself on national news, just to disregard everybody else. It was hilarious. I know Trump is not the most presidential in any way, but you would figure he would take the time to make the same nonsense, like in an actual statement, press conference, whatever. It's like, nah, he's just kind of running outside real quick, like, the lion! The lion! I've seen 3-year-olds more composed throwing a temper tantrum than Trump was in this actual performance. And this is only on addition to the fact that, like, all week long, this kind of impeachment thing has been called Fartgate. Ever since the interview with Eric Swalwell kind of, you know, actually has him in the middle of talking about everything, and it trended on Twitter. So Trump's Fartgate is only added in to his childish behavior and has been very entertaining this very week in particular. Although I will say that while watching a lot of the Trump impeachment, I try to catch it while I'm on my breaks at work, right? One thing that was said, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but one of the representatives actually had mentioned one particular thing, and that was that there are supposedly notes of people pretty much saying from the moment that Donald Trump got elected that they were going to have to find a way to impeach him. Now, I know a lot of people who were saying he was going to do some dumb stuff, especially after the whole, like, you know, just grab him by the, you know, that they would probably be able to get him on some sort of sexual allegation, kind of like how they were trying to get Clinton, right? Or, you know, by other means, that he'd just slip up. But the representative actually ends up going into a bunch of details and emails about how they were building up a case to impeach Trump from the moment he was in office and throughout. Now, a lot of people will say, well, this is speculation. Well, a lot of the whistleblower stuff is from third-person information that they got. And only now are they really getting people who were a part of things to confirm during the actual impeachment case. But the original message was all third-person hearsay, essentially. So maybe this does bear another investigation needed, because this could be a setup. I'm not to say that he hasn't done half the crap that they're saying him to do. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have a whole bunch of people going in just to try and impeach the president from the beginning, you never know who's on what side, where they could have been guiding him down the path that led to all these bad things. Which means that there may be more people to blame, and some of them may be blue. All thing is, get everybody. If corruption is found anywhere in the politics, you need to get rid of all of them. Be they blue, red, green, whatever. Get them all out. And why? Because we're the a-holes who do it when we go into other countries and try and do the same thing. So if we hold other countries to these standards, then we gotta hold ourselves to the same crap. Like I said, everyone accountable needs to be kicked out of whatever position in government that they have right now. And frankly, people, when it comes to politics, there's no such thing as an honest politician, not because they're liars, but because politicians make a ton of promises before they ever step in office without actually knowing the full situation that we're in. So essentially, they lied to you accidentally, but either way, they're liars, right? Like that's what it is. It's not with the intention of screwing you over. It's just sent with like, hey, it'd be great if we have a lot of these great thoughts, like Bernie Sanders, right? But then you got to hit him with the Joe Biden and then how do you actually get it done? And they don't know the situation that keeps them from getting it done. So, you know, I will not say that I agree with Trump, but perhaps a lot of the policies were done with the actual earnest intent of trying to help America in his own weird, twisted way. A lot of politicians, a lot of people in general, you know, hell, every villain in every movie you've ever seen is doing what they're doing with the best intent in most cases. I mean, yeah, I guess not every villain. Some of them are just, you know, batshit crazy. But for the most part, they do what they do to try and, you know, make the world a better place. Even Thanos was like destroying everyone to like, you know, bring balance to everything. But in the end, it's all just nonsense, and there's a, you know, everything's morally gray and all that. So just leave these guys alone. Let them deal with their nonsense and just laugh at all the stupidity that happens, because your daily life won't be changing with Trump as president unless you're an immigrant. Like that's the only people who are really concerned are immigrants and people trying to become citizens. Other than them, the rest of us who are already American, it's another Tuesday. That's a sad Tuesday. Wow. Wow. But since we're talking about Trump, I figured we might as well talk about some other WTF news. So first, there's actually a thing happening with women who want their men to not have jobs or be unsuccessful, so this way that their men are going to be loyal to them is the idea, right? There's been a thing passed around, an article passed around a lot lately about a woman who was talking about praying for her man to not get the job that he was interviewing for, so that way he has to stay loyal and stay in the house. Now, this woman was saying WTF because, like, bro, your man can have the job and cheat on you and not have a job and cheat on you, because when you're working, he has time to kill, right? Like, if a guy's going to be loyal, he's going to be loyal. And if he wants to do his dirt, he's going to do his dirt. That's just, you might as well at least have him be able to pay half your rent. That's all I'm saying, right? Because he's going to be grimy, at least he's paying some bills, and, you know.
What if he's going to be grimy? Be with a rich person and pay the bills.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. He could get himself a sugar mama and support your household. That could be his job. Like, if you know what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't logically make any sense. Like, a man who wants to be loyal will be loyal. That's it. It doesn't matter if he's working or not. And in fact, the fact that he's working might keep him loyal because he's too tired to do anything. He's just too tired. All he wants to do is go to work, come home, eat. Like, that's it. I don't know a lot of guys out there who are like that, especially if they work a long day. They just want to come home and eat. That's it. So if you want to keep your man loyal, have some food ready and a beer in the fridge. That's the trick. Not him not having a job. That's stupid. All right. The other thing in WTF news, a mom, first off, ladies, I understand that men should not comment on fashion for you guys and what's acceptable and what's not. I get that. I get how you feel. However, do not, this is not even me asking, do not wear a bright yellow jumpsuit to your son's graduation. Yeah. I don't care how skinny, how fat, do not wear bright yellow to your child's Graduation. That's just going to make you look retarded in the first place. But why does this make WTF news? Because some lady decided to do this, right? And she is no stick by far. And then has the nerve, as the children are going up to get their diplomas, to start twerking in front of where the kids are about to get their diplomas, in front of the entire audience. And then start twerking. And not just twerking, but twerking with the the whole ghetto noise. Don't embarrass your child. There's nothing more embarrassing you can do. This has become viral over the internet, this story of a mother getting pretty much as ratchet and can be as her son is getting his diploma. Like, I don't know how you can negate that moment when a young black child is getting a diploma to mark that they are receiving, you know, this hard to get moment in education. And I know it's a high school diploma, right? But like, there are a lot of us brothers and sisters out there who never reach that marker, and historically are known for not reaching it. So this moment where your black child is reaching this momentous occasion, and you counteract this like great moment for the community with being the most ratchet ghetto piece of crap garbage in existence. And you wonder why people look at us the way that they do sometimes. We have to do better. Not even for them, but for ourselves. We have to do better. This is just sad. This should be really funny, but it's actually really sad when you consider everything that happened. If she had been...
Let's play the video.
You want to play the video?
Yeah, let's play
Oh,
it.
God. Okay. All right.
Here we go.
That's really bad, isn't it? Yep, that's her too. Well, now you know why she's mom. But yeah, you don't do things like that at moments like
Cop was
this.
trying to get her out.
Well, yeah, the security actually had to drag her out of there. Like, you know how bad that is? You know how bad that is? If you want to act a fool after the ceremony is done, you guys are going to Red Lobster or, you know, Golden Corral or some crap, and, like, you act silly there, that's cool. But in the moment that they're supposed to be going up and getting their diplomas, you're doing crap like this, and security needs to, like, pull you out the place.
She had an angel's face.
That right there is why some people say some people shouldn't be parents. In a nutshell. I got a parent right there shaking his head agreeing with me. See? See what I'm saying? But to get away from that nonsense, we're going to go to a little bit of geekdom. So first, Disney Plus announcing that they're going to be dropping the show Weekenders on Disney Plus. And for some of us who are 90s kids, a couple of us 2000 babies who remember, this was a really cool show where you actually had, you know, 4 different kids, and it followed them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and them dealing with like teenage lives from different perspectives. You have a black kid, white kid, Spanish kid, you know, like all that. I think it was a great show. I feel like it was underrated for its time. It had a really dope theme song. I'm really glad for this. I posted this and I got some feedback where people were like, well, bring back Fillmore, right? The black detective in you know, elementary school. I thought that was a dope show. You've all definitely seen the meme of him talking about how, you know, white girl made some dry chicken. That show was awesome. There are a lot of great shows. I think that's the potential of Disney Plus that a lot of people are hoping for, is that they bring back a lot of these childhood shows that those of us who are parents or, you know, aunts and uncles, we want to share that with the next generation, and this makes it possible. Because a lot of the stuff was actually hard to find for years. So this is great. However, you know, I got to give you that knock, Disney, because you ain't paying my bills yet. Y'all got hacked. A lot of accounts in this last week or so since the launch, they got hacked. People have been complaining they can't even log back into their accounts and stuff like that. So Disney Plus is hackable, which a lot of Fire Stick users are now very happy about because they want that free Disney Plus. So that's a thing. But again, it's Disney, so Disney will probably have it fixed now that it's been announced and publicly aware. Because Disney has enough money to, like, Disney might be the only company that can compete with Amazon on owning everything. So, yeah, just putting that out there. And also, for the rest of us geeks, I don't know how many of you are into Funko Pops, but I know some of you are. And a lot of us who grew up on Toonami, that's going to be a thing now where the Toonami Tom, the guy who does the announcements, whose voiceover is on every other dubbed anime ever, will now be an official Funko Pop. So, you know, if you are a Funko Pop fan, if you're a Toonami fan, this is a collectible that you may want to have just to say, I got it. So, there you go. We also have a couple of things I wanted to get to. So, first, there is now an electric pickup truck, which I don't know how this makes any sense considering like pickup trucks are like, pickup trucks are essentially like that car of like gas guzzling southern culture, right? And Elon Musk and the guys at Tesla were just like, nah, we're just gonna make something, you know, friendly. Eco-friendly pickup truck. So one thing I'm going to say is that I think that this is going to be really those really funny things that like people who normally drive pickup trucks still won't buy this. But in theory, it's really good, and the truck is so durable. Like you could take sledgehammers to like the car itself. They demonstrated by taking sledgehammers to the car and it like not having any effect. Balls to the window. Perfectly no problem. Like we built you a pretty durable electric pickup truck. I bet you people still won't buy it just because it's electric. Like this is some hippie crap. I don't need this hippie crap. It's a pickup truck. But it gets you 500 miles for every charge up, and it's pretty damn sturdy. So that's going to be something interesting. And Tesla is, you know, although they've made it,
Doesn't look like a pickup.
It's a pickup truck. It's a pickup truck. But it's not in production yet. So something that they're going to probably have to work out the fact that people know it's electric as far as when they're pushing it. But all in all, it's a pretty solid truck. I just thought that was important because I'm like, I've never heard of an electric pickup truck. I feel like even when I say pickup truck, I gotta like put a little country on it. And then another thing in science that I found interesting is that there have been a lot of studies recently from multiple companies, including Microsoft, that prove that the 8-hour, 5-day work week does not increase productivity, and that there are other forms. So some of the ideas that have been tested are like in Germany, they've done an 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Work day, right? You don't get a lunch break, I will tell you that. You might get 15 minutes, and of course you can use the restroom. But in 5 hours, they got just as much done as an 8-hour work day, right? And I feel like people wouldn't mind going to work for 5 days if they only had to go for 5 hours. But a company in America, like Microsoft, has tested this out and done 4-day work weeks. You work your 10 hours. And the thing is, I hear a lot of people, especially like in the medical field, when you get the people who work 12s and they do their 3 days a week type of deal, they love it because they have the 4 days of freedom, right? People who do the 10-hour work days, and certain companies, especially in security, will give you the option to do that. They love it because they have 3 days to themselves. Like half the week is for you. It's a longer day, but the days that you have more days for you. And I mean, if you're gonna lose most of your day anyway by going to work, who the hell cares? I'm all for a 4-day work week. I am really for that 5-hour thing though. Like that sounds dope. Although in New York, you're going to be like working as long as you travel in some cases, so that might kind of suck. But that still leaves you with 14 hours to yourself, so that's a bonus. So think about that. So there's some things we might have to take up as Americans with the labor board and be like, I don't want to work 5 days no more. And science has my back on this. So, you know, I feel like everything sounds better if you say it with a country accent. Sorry.
Science.
Science. It's not Jesus, it's science. But yeah. So I think that's actually pretty cool. And before we go to our next base, I wanted to talk about this real quick. But Hong Kong held their first like real democratic elections recently, and they had in essence they had two major parties to vote for, right? A communist Beijing-based party and like a more democratic party. It's not really a thing for it, but they had 120 seats to elect representatives to represent Hong Kong, especially in this transitional period where like Hong Kong has their own kind of like passport from the rest of China, from mainland China, and it's considered kind of like its own little country within a country, but still Chinese. And so out of their 120 seats of representation, 108 of them went to this new democratic ideal. And then the rest of the 12 were Beijing representatives, which I feel like those might have been an automatic 12 that Beijing forced thing. So just something to see that the Chinese people who we talked about before were doing a lot of protests and stuff like that. There's actual action behind it, and they're hoping for democracy. To which, as Americans who've been dealing with democracy since the foundation, good luck, China, because we still haven't figured this shit out. On that note, we're going to our next commercial break.
Baby, I've been thinking of you all day. When you won't come through, baby, I just wanna do anything they wanna do, 'cause I'm so in love. I see no one else
Nobody else,
but you for me.
baby. I've been thinking about you all day. So I'ma come through. So I'ma come, baby. I just wanna do anything. You have no clue, 'cause I'm so in love. I see no one else, nobody else. So I'ma come through. So I'ma come.
Baby, I am so into you. Nobody makes me feel the way you do.
The way you do.
Baby, I will always want you. Nobody can love me
No one,
the way you do.
the way you do.
Boy, I know you love me too. So tell me, baby, when you gon' come through.
Baby, I just wanna be all you need. All you need. You can count on me. Time will be all night. Call on me. I'll be what you need. I'll be what you need. I just wanna be all you need. All you need. You're the one for me. You're the one for me.
Alright, so some quick news to run through before we get to my favorite part of the show. So first, Border Patrol ended up seizing 150 pounds of pork because they didn't believe a Mexican truck driver when he said that he was bringing into the country meat. So they seized his vehicle, inspected it, held it for hours, and it just turned out to be like 150 pounds of ham and bologna.
You said meat, I thought you probably meant processed.
No, just pork, Just some straight up pork. That's it. So Border Patrol, really doing their job. No one in or out. Then we have Kanye West given the honor of dropping the best album of the decade according to Billboard with a Dark Twisted Beautiful Fantasy, which is probably true. This is an album that came out 2011. If there's any song that you might remember, it's All the Lights. Like, that was the big hit. That CD from start to finish is probably Kanye's second best album, in my opinion, of his entire career. The first being the very first he dropped, College Dropout. I don't think he's ever done an album better than that. But this is a really close number 2, and officially best album from 2010 to 2019, with 2020 beginning a new decade. So shout out to Kanye for that W. His crazy has led to making him a musical genius. I got some stickers in the background. Okay, y'all messed up for that, but okay. And last but not least is that Bumblebee Tuna Fish is now filing for bankruptcy after 120 years of being in business. They are going bankrupt. Supposedly there was a big scandal with them, which who knows that there's a tuna scandal, but there was a big scandal with them with fixing tuna prices on the nonsense, and now officially the company's going under and they're about to be bought out by somebody else. So, if you're someone who likes Bumblebee Tuna Fish, there's still going to be tuna, but it won't be Bumblebee anymore. And Anthony Mackie was going on and on about how he is really honored to being the new Captain America. He thinks that, it means a lot that a black man gets to be Captain America. The statement that he makes, and he's going to be Captain America pretty much throughout the entire series hitting Disney Plus of The Winter Soldier and Falcon. Although the title says Falcon, he will be donning the shield of Captain America. So it kind of confusing. It'll work out. Don't worry about it. If you're not sure, just read the comics. Just read the comics. Huh? Why? Because in the comics, Falcon does become Captain America.
No, why?
Why him? Because he's Falcon.
Yeah, I guess.
So I mean, like by default.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna go with the.
They're just keeping in the storyline. That's all. I mean, I have no problem with it. I like him. I don't. He's like, especially being a black man and what we deal with in America, it means a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, for me, it's just kind of like they're really just keeping it with the comics. So you're really reading into this too far. Like, this is the MCU being progressive. This is them being accurate. But right, but I feel you in everything that you're trying to state. It's great, right? But yeah, dude, you're not that special. You just are that guy who's there. All right, so
Right time, right place.
right time, right place, which is very rare for black people. It's normally wrong time, wrong place, and a whole bunch of bullets. So on that note, good thing you have the shield. But my favorite part is the fans of the week. So Charles, who do we have first? Because your pictures in my lineup never seem to sync.
K?
So we have just K28, right, with her oversized glasses. No? Or is it Key? Key the Rascal. Okay, yeah. So that see, I told you, his list and my list never sync, never in sync, right? But yeah, so Key the Rascal is number 1. The next should be just K28 with oversized glasses. Although Key has little baby photos, so I had to post that just because, like he left it up there. That's his fault. But yeah, I don't know why she's always wearing those oversized shades, and her eyes are not that big. But yeah, so that's there. Then do you have Ruben or Tara? So Ruben's next. So we have Ruben Diaz is next, who's won this probably over 10 times now. Very active on Facebook. Very, very active. Thank you. And then Tom Moreno, who's a new new follower and has been really active recently, like hyper active. I think I posted something today and like within 5 minutes she clicked on it. So thank you. And then last but not least is something is our picture of the week, which I feel is sadly too true. And I had a really hard time deciding between 3 or 4 of them this week, but I felt like this one probably encompassed part of the message and the rest of it. And it's that before the internet, right, we all thought that people were stupid because of a lack of information. Pure ignorance, not stupidity, is that they didn't know enough. With the internet, people have the access to all sorts of knowledge. Whether the opinions are dissenting or not, you can get everyone's point of view on every topic, on anything. Anything. You can learn how to do anything yourself, and yet people are still stupid. So yeah, it's not that it's a lack of information. There's just it's not ignorance. It's pure stupidity.
No. No. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
All right. So now the movies and such of the week. So first, Charlie's Angels. I give this movie a 4 out of 5. It is a movie that should have been out of all the movies I've seen in the last 2-3 years, when there's like this big neo-feminism like revolution. This is probably one of the least in your face with feminism like thrown all up in there out of everything I've seen. They pretty much let the movie do itself justice, where we have a bunch of women kicking butt and taking names, and we don't need to say that women can do everything and anything the entire time as they do it. So thank you. This was actually entertaining. The story was fun. Kristen Stewart didn't absolutely ruin it like she did a lot of things, and the action was good. The story was great. The twist at the end, I mean, honestly, anything with, Sir Patrick is just awesome, and this is one of those things to add on to the list. It's a great movie. The only thing about it is that, Charlie's Angels really has to Next, we have Chadwick Boseman, Mr. Black Panther himself, in another cop movie, because it seems like when he's not Black Panther, he's a cop for whatever reason. I don't know why, but yeah, so he did 21 Bridges. This is a movie that you knew studios dropped this when they did because you don't want to drop up anything major against Frozen. It's a stupid move. You drop anything against a popular Disney princess, you're not making money. So they found a movie that didn't cost too much money to make, and they threw it up there. And you feel that this is a pretty, I'm not gonna say low budget, like this is definitely higher quality.
You're drinking me under the table.
Very simple story. The movie itself is I feel like Black audience.
No one's gonna pick you up under the table.
Definitely had one of those the entire film. It was really annoying, but it makes the case. It's a 3.5 out of 5. It's a simple, for me, it's a simple detective story. You know, good cop finds out that there are some criminals who kill cops and some cops who deserve to be killed, and he ends up in the middle of all of it. There's a lot that's done in this movie in a really short span of time. I feel like it helps hurt the movie because there's just certain things that don't make sense to happen in such a short amount of time. As far as just anyone who's ever lived in New York, like it doesn't make sense that they got from point A to point B in like 6 minutes. Even with the city shut down, it doesn't make any sense. But okay, whatever. And other little fine details, and that's why it's a 3.5. But it is entertaining. It is fun for like a 90-minute movie. There's not really anything too wrong with it for any other movie of its genre. It's a solid, like, simple 90-minute watch. If you don't have anything else to watch it. If it's not something you need to rush to see in theaters, but definitely give it a watch when it hits Netflix or something of the sort, right? That's all I'll say about that. Then on Netflix we have a series called Greenhouse Academy. It's a 3.5 out of 5 for me. It's a series. It's a teen drama, essentially about these super rich kids in a really weird school that, it feels like a fake Hogwarts, but without magic. And there seems to be some, like, evil background story about people trying to control a space rock. As confusing as all that may sound, it makes a lot of sense as you watch the show episode by episode. Characters you hated, a lot of back and forth drama.
Growing up as a kid.
I was that. Then you have Eliza, who's a comic that I really love. Eliza, right? Like one of those names that you just can't pronounce no matter what. Did a recent stand-up called Unveiled. It's her stand-up since she's now been married. I normally really enjoy her stand-ups, but this one was just a little too white for me, right? Like even for me. This was one of those stand-ups that was meant for ladies. This is one of those stand-ups that was, meant for a certain culture. And she tries to, like, placate to the outside culture. She does this thing about how, like, as a white woman, she doesn't like her thighs, like how like every other minority group likes their thighs, but white women want to have Asian men thighs, like, you know, stuff like that. Some of the bits, like, she tries. So, like, you know, for the attempt, I can't say that it was a bad stand-up. There's a lot of stuff I could laugh to, but it's definitely, you can tell, like, this was not meant for someone like me to really watch and enjoy. Even the audience was heavily female, where you can hear in the laughs, like, there was, like, no bass ever. Yeah, and I think she's a much better comic than the material that she just dropped, but she just got married and had a honeymoon and all that good stuff, so I'm going to let that rock with a 3.5 out of 5. Like, it wasn't a waste of my time, but it wasn't her best material. And although I will give shout-outs to the fact that she called out feminists on a lot of the bull crap that they do to other feminists. So, you know, that was pretty solid. And that was a running theme throughout the entire stand-up. Next is a show that was being pushed called The Stranded. I'm just going to start off with the score. It's a 2.5 out of 5. Essentially, a bunch of people in Asia are hit by a giant wave out of nowhere, and only some of them survived. Literally, as you watch the show and the series progress, it just feels like an Asian version of Lost. It doesn't, like, it's a younger group of cast members, and it still felt like Lost. Like, I was sorely disappointed. Like, I knew that the theme of it could be very, like, Lost-ish, like the same with One Land, which was called Island, right? But it's one, not I. You know, it could have been like that, but even that had a more interesting developed twist, and the story didn't feel the same. And this literally felt like Asian teenagers trying to do American Law, and I wasn't that good. 2.5 out of 5. Out of this, the pure, there's enough there to keep you watching. If you've never watched all of Lost, I give it a 2.5 out of 5. But for me, entertainment value-wise, 1 out of 5. I've seen it before. I'm boring. And last but not least is the season 3 of The Dragon Prince. Right now, The Dragon Prince is probably one of my favorite series to actually hit Netflix in recent years, just because it's a kid-themed animation that has a lot of adult concepts that I feel like this is a good watch for parents and children. And this is a pretty solid, like, mix of these really jovial moments, really serious the whole show starts off with a bunch of kids killed. Just off the rip. And then it turns into, little kids and brothers, like, bonding because they're happy. Like, there's a lot of back and forth between, like, the happy and sad. It's really perfect series. It's a really good way to wrap up the series with the, getting to the dragon. There's a lot of mysticism and stuff like that, but it's really fun, and I feel like this season was almost perfect, and I give it a 4 out of 5, just because the only thing missing was that this particular season seemed to be a bit slower than the other seasons. It was definitely way more serious than other seasons, and not even in a bad way, but it's just that part of the charm is the fact that it has the contrast between dark and light throughout the entire series, and this one has very little light moments. So for some who loved it for that, you're gonna miss out. But other than that, I think it, as an overall series, it's just really, really good. It's a really good season, just content-based. 4.5 out of 5. All right. So that's been another episode of Will's Review. And before we go, I just want to wish my niece happy birthday, Princess Kiki. And you're 4 now, so now you're talking a lot, and that's, I don't know how I feel about that yet. But I hope you enjoy your day. I hope you enjoy going to see Frozen, and I will see you in a few days at Turkey Day. Bye, guys.